Yes, yes, yes. It's the Raphael Dawkins with the Combat Radio. And are we live yet, though? We are live. Okay, excellent. It's Raphael Dawkins Combat Radio with another one. What's the name of this piece? Beterbiev Beach Yard. What now? The original wrap-up show. No counterfeit. Don't sell for any other kind of wrap-up. Stick to the original. No counterfeit. No messing around. No cut and paste. Original only. Okay. What are we talking about today? I know you want to know what the menu is. Oh, I forgot to upload a particular picture. Where is that picture? Let's see if we can do that in real time. Hold on. Not too many windows open right about now. Hold on. As a matter of fact, rat-tat-tat-tat. Let's do the sound check. First things first. Okay. Uh-oh. Let's have a look. Let's cut that and do the sound check. Where are we? Let's have a look. First. Okay. That is... That's good, yeah. Sound is good. Session is in session. Okay. Let's have a look. Okay. The notification has gone out. So people shall be coming in. Let me just do some housekeeping. Let's tell you about some of the topics straight away. Where are we going to start? OMG. There's a lot of stuff. What we got here? Let's share this. Boom. Callum Smith knocks out Beterbiev in 6 rounds, says Tony Bellew. OMG. Tony Bellew with a big statement there. What else we got? Let's have a look. Let's give you some of the headlines. What's this one? Artur Beterbiev set to be ordered to fight Callum Smith next after stopping Anthony Yarde in a thriller. Okay, let's have a look. What else we got? Going through some of our headlines before we get into the register. What else we got? What other top news? Oh, this is a good one. Let's refresh that page. No momento, mami, slow your tempo. You see that on the screen? Oscar de la Hoya talks about pitch Golden Boy is making to Terrance Bud Crawford. OMG. So, got a lot of things to talk about. A whole heap of things. Crocus bag of things. But there's one picture that I wanted to show you all. I should have actually downloaded this earlier. Where is it? Terrance Crawford. Oscar de la Hoya. What is that picture? Let's get into the images. OMG. Can I share this? OMG. So Terrance Crawford in talks. As again, small instead of bigger. In talks with Golden Boy Promotions. Okay, so got a load of things. I should save one of them pictures. Un momento. Let's make this smaller. Damn it, where is it? What's the one I want to use? Open. Open image in new tab. Dang. Okay, that's not the best image. I'll have to get back to that later. Let's close that down. Let's get into this thing. Okay. Philip Carl Roberts up in the building. Yarde gave a good account of himself. He absolutely did. He absolutely did. There were some tactical errors, which is technical guys overlooked. I went into them in the fight show on Saturday when not everybody was here. So, I'll go over the key points, the key changes that Anthony Yarde needs to make. There's a couple of things. One thing in particular, which if one technique in particular, if Anthony Yarde had used that technique, it could have altered the course of the fight. And I'll let you into that secret very, very shortly. Ace 1982 up in the building. How do you do? Good to have you up in here. Seems like you fell asleep for the fight. Seems like you fell asleep for the fight. I hope you woke up at least in time for the KO. You know what I mean? I hope you didn't miss the whole thing. Okay. Can't see Callum Smith doing too well against Beterbiev. How does Rafi feel about that? Well, that is to be revealed. We're going to talk about that. The fight doctor is up in the building. He says he was awake. But you said you was coming into the chat, mate. I didn't see you. Did you come into the chat? Should have come into the chat for the extra dimension we give to these things. Okay. Good stuff. I thought you fell asleep in your rocking chair with your slippers. OMG. Okay. Good man. Okay. So, where do I begin? Bong, 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 bong. There's so many ways to begin this thing. So many areas. Why is that advert there? So many avenues, so many strands to pick at. Where do we begin? What's the best place? Well, yeah, let's start with this. Okay. Let's show. To be fair, the action was so good you literally could not take your eyes off the fight. True. Damn good fight. Okay. So, let's get into this. Okay, so Arthur Beterbiev set to be ordered to fight Callum Smith next after stopping Anthony Yarde in a thriller. Okay, so see if you can see that. Yeah, I think so. Arthur Beterbiev, yeah, set to be ordered to fight Callum Smith next. WBC El Presidente Mauricio Suleiman previously confirmed. Okay, so the WBC, IBF, and WBO light heavyweight world champion retained his belts with a stunning stoppage win over Anthony Yarde on Saturday night in London. Okay. Better be there in the long socks, long black socks, the black shorts. Okay. We're going to get back to this picture. I'm going to get back to this picture in my analyses. Okay. So, the brutal battle began with an aggressive start from Beterbiev as he pursued Yarde around the ring. However, the challenger was clever with his counters and matched the champion. Beterbiev hurt Yarde in round 4, but the Brit weathered the storm before battling back to hurt the Russian Canadian in a sensational 5th round. Okay, so both men cut each other in the following rounds and continued to exchange heavy artillery. Ultimately, though, it would be Beterbiev who would make the difference with the big shot in round 8, which staggered Yarde and saw him stagger to the ground. Yarde beat the count and tried to fight on, but was on the end of another assault. By the way, that final assault consisted of 3 blows to the back of the head. I don't think I've heard anybody saying it, but that final assault from Beterbiev consisted of 3 illegal blows. Hey, I'm just saying. I ain't heard nobody talking about that, but just saying. He beat the count and tried to fight on, but was on the end of another assault. So his trainer jumped up on the apron to wave the fight off. Talking about Tunde Ajayi. Was that a good stoppage, by the way, folks? Are you happy with the stoppage? Write your opinion in the chat. Was it a good stoppage? Was you cool with it, or was it a tad early? Or was it a tad late? You tell me. Okay, so at the end of the WBC convention in November, the topic of Beterbiev arose and was clarified by the WBC Presidente. I can guarantee the WBC board reviewed on Sunday, Callum Smith is the mandatory. He's allowed to do an interim fight because Beterbiev is going to do the WBO mandatory. The winner must fight Callum Smith. Yes, so the WBO mandatory, that would have been, I guess that was Yarde. I'm going to do the I didn't know it was a mando, though. Okay. I forgot it was a mando. Okay, so Smith is permitted to do a fight. However, if he loses that fight, he will lose his position as mandatory challenger, said Jose Suleiman. Okay. So before I go to our guest, let's have a look at what the people are saying. They need to make Beterbiev v. Bivol. I don't care about Callum Smith. Yarde was 50-50 with a 38-year-old when he was doing 0. When he moved up a gear, Beterbiev batted him quick. Beterbiev was below par and still won fairly easily. It was hardly Hagler v. Hearns. Interesting. Well, what I'll say to that, Wizard Sleeves, what I'll say to that is that Yarde was 50-50 with a 30-year-old. Well, what am I going to do? Am I going to go into my tactics and techniques now, or am I going to go into my analysis of Yarde's fundamental error? Fundamental? Is fundamental too strong? Of an error, a tactical error. Let's call it a tactical error. Yarde made a tactical error that could have significantly changed the course of the fight. Yarde was beat to the punch by Beterbiev with that nice jab, but Yarde was countering with a sweet check left hook. I was on a show previous to the live show, briefly, just to give my breakdown of the fight, and I said that Yarde needed to use hooks, check hooks. He didn't use the right check hook, but he used the left to very good effect. So there's definitely reasons to be cheerful. Yarde acquitted himself far better than I expected him to. He was far more competitive than I expected him to be. And at times, he had Beterbiev shocked and rocked. So let's not underplay the effect of Yarde. He had Beterbiev running away from him at times. Let's not mess around. He made Beterbiev put his skates on at times. You know what I'm saying? So, you can't overlook that or discount that. Yarde could have knocked Beterbiev out with a few tactical adjustments. But anyway, at that juncture, let's bring in the fight doctor. Let him introduce himself.
Yo, Fight Doctor's in the house on Rick James status, as always. Good evening, sir.
Yes, Fight Doctor. How do you do? Did you catch the fight on Saturday?
I did. I did, and it was a good fight. I enjoyed it. It had its moments where it was like Rock'em Sock'em Robots, and I thought Yarde gave a good account of himself. I could only find one round to give him, though.
Yeah.
But it was action-packed fight. I think Yarde, he never got his jab going, and he neglected the body. I think ultimately a lack of a good jab, or not being able to get his jab going, and a lack of body work is ultimately what sealed the deal for him. But I think he did show what you would need to do in order to beat Beterbiev, which is make him back up. Because in my mind, Beterbiev is a lot less effective when he's fighting on the back foot. When you allow him to come forward, then he's going to walk you down and destroy you. But if you can make him back up, you have a chance. Yeah.
This was an appropriate picture. That's why I kept it up. And I revealed it on Saturday night, but some of you weren't here, so I will reveal what I revealed on Saturday night about the tactical error made by Yarde's team. It was an oversight on their part, but hopefully this gets back to the team, and hopefully something that Yarde will work on in the future. And the oversight was something that Yarde does not tend to do, but it was a mistake in this fight. Not doing it hampered him in this fight. And what I'm talking about is the holding, the grappling, the Greco-Roman wrestling, the upper body wrestling. What Beterbiev tended to do was let Yarde follow him to the ring, to the corner, turn, pivot, and Yarde's in against the ring, and Beterbiev would open up. And that's not a problem. Well, it was a problem, but it doesn't have to be a problem. Because what happened then was that Yarde would take a number of shots to the dome piece primarily. And that was unnecessary. It gave Beterbiev points in certain rounds when Yarde was beating Beterbiev. Beterbiev came back at the end of the round on the ropes, turned Yarde, and let loose a barrage. And that needn't have been a problem if Yarde had responded appropriately. What is the appropriate thing to do in that situation? And the appropriate thing for Yarde to do was to grapple his opponent. Grab him. Grab his arms. Lock him in. Have a bit of tussling. Turn Beterbiev so his back's against the rope, and pow, pow. 2 shots to the dome, or 1 to the head, 1 to the body. So what we would have had in that situation is that we would have had a situation where Beterbiev was not collecting points at the end of the round with a barrage of shots. He would stop the barrage by the holding, by the tying up, by the grappling. And then the points for those rounds, instead of going to instead of Beterbiev nicking that round at the end of the round, Yarde would have nullified the assault and in several rounds would have won the round. He would also have avoided a certain amount of damage. Therefore, he would be fresher. And so I think that was a crucial mistake made by the strategist who came up with the game plan. The fight doctor, your response to that?
Yeah, well, so again, from where I'm sitting, it was the lack of a jab. I mean, you're just not going to beat a fighter of Beterbiev's caliber unless the jab is working. And, Yarde's jab seemed to be out to lunch. I mean, it's like, it was like he was doing pad work. It's like, are you even aiming at the guy's face? So for me, everything starts and ends with the jab.
Yeah.
And Yarde's jab just was out the leg, was not working. And you just is not going to beat this guy unless you get your jab working.
I hear you. What about a grappling?
Well, I mean, I don't know that Beterbiev really has much of an inside game. A lot of these Eastern European cats, they're well schooled, and very technically proficient, except where it comes to infighting.
Right.
And so I don't know that Beterbiev grappling with this guy on the inside would have made much of a difference. Yard grappling. I'm sorry, I don't think that Yarde grappling with this guy would have made much of a difference.
It would have nullified his assault, wouldn't it? It would have nullified Beterbiev's assault. If you grip somebody up, you've nullified the assault.
Well, here's the problem: is that Beterbiev is that mid-range guy. He wants to keep you at the end of his jab so he can hit you with that big right hand, and he's not really interested. In my mind, he's not really interested in infighting. So, if you're grappling with the guy, well, you're wrestling, but you're not scoring points. You're not winning. And when the referee comes and breaks it up, Beterbiev is going to go back to boxing. He's going to touch you with his jab. He's going to hit you with his right hand. Meanwhile, Yarde is not landing his jab and is slowly getting broke down and getting knocked out. So, I mean, maybe perhaps if Yarde's jab were working, perhaps grappling with this guy would have
Well, forget about the jab for the minute, because we're specifically talking about the grappling. What I'm saying to you, my friend, is that at the end of several rounds, Beterbiev would lure Yarde to the ropes, turn him so he had his back on the ropes, and then unleash a barrage. What I'm saying to you is that if Yarde clinched and did a bit of grappling at that time, then he's not receiving those shots. He's not receiving that damage. He's not receiving those points against him. So what I'm saying to you is that by clinching Beterbiev at those points, he would have nullified, stifled those end of round barrages.
Well, I mean, okay, but I don't see how that wins him the fight, because
of course it wins him the fight, because if you're winning a fight by the end of round barrages and the next man nullifies your end of round barrages, then that wins you the fight, theoretically.
Well, but here's the problem, is that Beterbiev's jab was working. Yarde's jab wasn't. So
I don't see. We're not talking about a jab, though. The end of round barrages were primarily inside shots, hooks, the jabs, yes, jabs as well. But what I'm saying is, if he clinches, then that doesn't happen.
So if Yarde clinches, that nullifies the barrages. Okay, I give you that. However, I don't see that the last 10, 15 seconds of each round is what decided the fight. I mean, I only gave Yarde one round. Now, yeah, if you take away the barrages or the last 10, 15 seconds of every round, in my mind, Beterbiev still wins the fight. Well, so I don't see how.
Well, that's interesting. That's interesting.
I don't see how Yarde employing that tactic would have changed the outcome, because he still gets knocked out regardless. He still gets knocked out.
Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, I can't see how you can't see the point that I'm making. I can't see how you can't see. If you're nullifying your opponent when he gets close, and you're doing that multiple times around, and that alone can win you the fight.
Well, so if the situation were Yarde is controlling the fight from the outside, okay, his jab is working. He's making Beterbiev miss. He's making Beterbiev pay, and Beterbiev, he's only having success when they exchange, when they're up close on the inside. That's the only time that Beterbiev is having success. Then yes, it would make sense for Yarde to clinch and to disrupt his rhythm. But that's not the fight that we saw play out Saturday. Well, at least that's not the fight that I saw.
Well, it's like I said, if you nullify 25% of your opponent's attacks, then you're 25% up.
Well, yeah. But if your opponent is nullifying 75% of what you want to do, you're 50% in the hole.
But he wasn't nullifying 75% of what the other guy was doing, though. Because Yarde was representing himself, was falling short by a slim margin on several rounds. So if you take that slim margin away, then boom, you've won the round. What I'm saying, I think mathematically, what I'm saying is indisputable. If you're nullifying 25% of your opponent's attack in a round that you thinly lost, you lost by a slim margin, you take that margin away, you've won the round. I don't see anybody could mess with that mathematically.
Okay, so walk me through how Yarde is winning if he takes away that aspect of Beterbiev's game, which I personally didn't see, you know.
You didn't see the end of round barrages.
What I'm saying is, I saw the end of round barrages towards the end of the fight when they began to mix it up, because the first 3-4 rounds they were boxing, and I saw Beterbiev clearly winning the boxing match. Then a fight broke out about the 5th round, 6th round, right there somewhere, which is when you start having these exchanges, right? But the exchanges were happening in spurts. But outside of that, what I saw was a boxing match for the most part. the first half of the fight, you saw Beterbiev coming forward, staying behind his jab, right? And in the second half of the fight, I saw Beterbiev kind of taking it, fighting off the back foot, but still in control of the fight from what I saw. Now, I would say the later rounds were more competitive, but at no point did I see where Yarde was in control of the fight. Now, maybe about the fifth, sixth round, the momentum had started to shift in his direction.
Hell yeah.
Right?
Hell yeah.
Because there was something that he saw that was giving him encouragement, because Beterbiev, I think, probably walked into a punch that he didn't like.
He put them hands on Beterbiev and made Beterbiev get on his ice skates.
Right. So
skated on up out of there.
So there's no denying that, right? But there was never a time in this fight where I thought Beterbiev was in danger of getting stopped or even losing the fight.
Yeah, there was a couple of times that I saw that.
Now I did see him get hit with some punches, some good shots, left hook.
You saw him put his ice skates on immediately after.
Yeah, I saw Yarde connect with a couple of body shots later in the fight that clearly Beterbiev did not like. But the overall tone of the fight was, there was one guy who was the ring general, and then there was one guy who was trying to catch up. And the guy who was the ring general, in my mind, was Beterbiev. And the guy who was trying to catch up was Yarde. Now, was the gap beginning to narrow in the later rounds? Yes. But did Yarde at any point, in my mind, did he overtake the lead, or did he assume control of the fight? No, he didn't.
Yarde was ahead on the scorecards, don't you?
So okay, well, the judges were the three blind mice, because I only gave Yarde one round. So anyone who had Yarde ahead in that fight clearly should not score a professional fight, because they don't know shaving cream about boxing. Okay, seriously, because no, this is not, no. I'm sorry, but anyone who scored that fight for if one of those judges scored the fight for Yarde, then the scorecards were filled out before the fight started. That's the only way I can explain that. I think it was the sixth round or the seventh round. Okay, look, being generous, I would give Yarde 2 rounds. At most. But having him ahead in this fight, no. I'm sorry, but no. Nope. That's not the fight that I saw. Maybe I need to clean the crud out of my eyes. Maybe it's time I get a new prescription. Right? I've been meaning to go to the eye doctor. Perhaps it's that time. But the fight that I saw, no. Beterbiev was comfortably ahead.
So you disagree with the judges then?
Totally, completely. Those judges were bought off. Many of those judges had that fight close.
Strong allegations being made here on the Raphael Dawkins Combat Radio by the Fight Doctor. And I'd just like to say at this point that any views expressed by the panelists are not necessarily shared by the RDCR.
It was an entertaining fight.
It was what?
It was an entertaining fight.
It most certainly was. It most
definitely
certainly was. Okay. There are other topics to cover. 3 punches to the back of the head. I didn't see those. I only remember the huge right hand. Are people blind? Are people blind to the punches behind the head at the end of the fight from Beterbiev? The 3 illegal blows consecutive to finish the fight? Did people not see that?
So I've only watched the fight once. So what I will do is later on this evening, I'll go back and watch it the second time and look for those.
I only needed to watch it one time to see the punches in the back of the head. Come on now.
Well, so here's what I saw at the end of the fight. I saw the right hand. I saw Yarde go down. I saw him get up, and his body language told me he was completely and utterly not interested in continuing the fight. That's what his body language told me.
Oh, those are after the 3 illegal blows.
No. That was the first knockdown.
Oh,
yeah, which is when the ref should have stopped the fight after the first knockdown because Yarde clearly was not interested in fighting. Clearly.
Oh, that's what you're saying. I saw it differently. I saw Tunde wear the fight off because I think that was a sensible thing to do. Yarde would have kept on fighting, but he shouldn't have because he was clearly dazed. So good stoppage, in my humble opinion. Wizard Sleeve says 2 words, Lyndon Arthur. Well, yeah, he did lose to Lyndon Arthur, in my opinion. It was a contested, disputed decision. But I do believe Lyndon Arthur won that on my scorecard. He did come back, though, and knock Lyndon Arthur out in 4 rounds. You know, you don't get much more decisive than that, in fairness to the fella. What's going on here? Beterbiev was luring Yarde into the corner. He most certainly was. Got to pick Bivol over Beterbiev. Yeah, but it don't look like that fight's next, unfortunately.
And that's a shame. It's a crime. It's just unfortunate that the fights that really need to happen don't happen when they need to happen, because by the time the fight happens, if it happens, Beterbiev will be an old man. I mean, he's an old man now. So, I mean, that fight needs to happen next.
It does. Question. It does. And you think Beterbiev stops Bivol, apparently?
Yes. Now, that if the fight were to happen next, if the fight would happen in the next 4 or 5 months, but at 38 years old, the clock is ticking. In boxing years, Beterbiev is an old man.
Yep.
I mean, and I'll be honest, considering he's 38 years old, Saturday he looked phenomenal.
He did.
I mean, there's just not many guys in the history of the sport at his age who have looked that good.
Yeah. For real. But I think that Yarde made him look human at times.
But there's no question. But see, when you are a big puncher, and there is no denying Yarde's punching power, that tends to happen.
Oh yeah. Hell yeah.
That tends to happen. But the question is, look, I just don't think Bivol has enough to keep Beterbiev off of him. And I think Bivol's only chance at winning that fight would be, he would definitely have to have his jab working, and he would need to be sticking and moving. I think he would need to control the distance. If Bivol finds himself fighting Beterbiev's fight, he's gonna meet with the same fate as the other 19 guys.
Bivol's gonna knock Beterbiev spark the out. You heard it here, folks. You heard it here first, folks. It's gonna pick him apart systematically. Look at the success that Yarde had with his relatively rudimentary skills. Bivol is levels above that. He's going to pick Beterbiev apart systematically, break him down, and potentially finish him. Let him walk onto something. There's no doubt in my mind we can have a wager on that. Anytime it happens, I'll be more than happy to take your money.
Was that directed at me?
It was most certainly directed at you.
Well, I mean So, given the extenuating circumstances, I would not place a wager on that bet until the fight was signed. Because, to be honest with you, again, Beterbiev is 38 years old, so Father Time is undefeated. He could look like an old man in his next fight. In fact, you can make the argument that he's already showing the signs.
There's an argument to be made for that.
You know, I mean, the Marcus Brown fight was a tough fight.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And you can make the argument that this was a tough fight too. So, you know, at some point, the mileage starts to rack up, and maybe perhaps Beterbiev has reached that plateau at this point in his career. You know, look, it's not only just the fight itself; it's the sparring, it's the just the 8-week training camp, and you know, again, I mean, this guy's that had what 400, 300, almost 400 amateur fights, right?
Right.
So you know, long amateur career, and you know, 38 years old, the knees don't quite work as they used to, and you know, the back gets a little stiff. You know, the hands start to hurt. You know, it's just not the same.
For real. Wear and tear. Okay. So that is the news that Arthur Beterbiev set to be ordered to fight Callum Smith next after stopping Anthony Yarde in a thriller. Okay, so who we got? We got the Leon Figures joins us. Good stuff. Good to have you in here, Leon. Uncle Burnt Apostrophe says he could be the new mongoose. Indeed. Who though? Who's the mongoose? Who could be the new mongoose? Cal L up in the building. Salute to the Combat Radio Nation. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. And hit the bell icon to stay updated with news and notifications. Okay. What else we got here? Yes. Marveloso. What do I need to do now? Something I was going to do. Oh, yeah. Let's get this done before we move on. Where are we? Yeah, that's good. Where is it? Let's pin that. Okay. Marveloso. Okay, so let's move on from that. And where are we? What's the next thing? No, I don't need that. I need to go into this. Just kind of already did. I can just share this with you for a couple of minutes, for a couple of seconds before we move on. As a matter of fact, rat-tat-tat-tat, I can do a poll. On this, so okay, can serve a dual purpose. Let's get that off there. And let's get a poll up. Who wins? Beterbiev or Callum Smith. Okay, just to cover this quick piece. Let's have a look. Let's get that organized. Okay, so Callum Smith knocks Beterbiev out in 6 rounds, says Tony Bellew. OMG. Okay, so full story. Okay. So Tony Bellew, surprisingly, has jumped off the Arthur Beterbiev ship after his stoppage win over countryman Anthony Yarde Saturday night. He now believes his WBC mandatory Callum Smith will knock him out within 6 rounds. OMG. Okay, so Callum Smith has looked good since moving up to 175 in 2021, but he hasn't fought the type of opposition needed to tell us how well he'll do against a monster puncher like Beterbiev. Beterbiev, too easy to hit. Yeah, kind of. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying is going to happen when he meets with Bivol. It's going to be a war. Don't get me wrong, and he's gonna hurt Bivol too. He hurts everybody, but I think Bivol's going to hurt him more. If Callum fights with his back against the ropes, the 12th round against Beterbiev, as he did in his lopsided loss to Canelo, he's not going to last long. Beterbiev, unlike Canelo, has the power to stop the stalk like Smith if he goes into the sparring partner mode like he did against the Mexican star and John Ryder. Those fights show that Smith doesn't react well to pressure and he has no inside game to speak of. Bellew thinks Beterbiev's fighting style is tailor-made for the 6'2" Callum Smith. He also reckons he's too easy to hit. Oh no, that's not what I wanted to do. What's going to happen? Okay. Is that even visible? It's probably not even visible. What's going on? Okay, yeah. Let's get rid of that. Okay, so styles make fights. Styles make fights, and people are going to shoot me down here. But I'm going to say it anyway. Callum Smith knocks Beterbiev out within 6 rounds. He's too open and too easy to hit. I've said he's vulnerable, and it'll show when he fights Callum Smith. Interesting points there from Tony Bellew. Okay. He's made for Callum Smith, in my honest opinion. I don't know why I'm so confident in this. I just see a perfect clash in Callum's catch and counter style doing Beterbiev and doing it quickly as well. Time will tell, says Bellew. Okay, unfortunately, Callum hasn't been all that active since he was soundly beaten by Canelo Alvarez 3 years ago. Wow, it's 3 years already. Wow, pre-pandemic, time flies. Since that loss, Callum has fought just 2 times, beating 2 low-level fighters, Baudelic and Castillo. Those are fodder-level opponents, making it impossible to gauge if Callum Smith has improved as a fighter and whether he has the ability to compete with the best at 175. Okay. I'm not going to go any deeper than that. Only to ask the people, what do you think of Tony Bellew's stated opinion? You got the poll there. People are voting in the poll. Get your votes in so I can shut that down. What do you think of Tony Bellew's opinion? The Fight Doctor.
To quote Rick James, cocaine is a hell of a drug. Cocaine is a hell of a drug. No. The Beterbiev that I saw Saturday stops Callum Smith.
Yeah.
I think the only 2 guys around 175 who I would think could beat Beterbiev. Lonzo Cole.
Yeah.
Boo Andrade. Sorry.
Andrade versus Beterbiev. Interesting fight. They're never gonna happen.
And I don't think Andrade or Andre would be a lock, but I think stylistically, he has the best chance of anyone at 175 or below to beat Beterbiev. You know, for in my mind, kryptonite for the Eastern Europeans has always will be the slick boxer types. That's the reason why Golovkin wanted nothing to do with Andrade because of his style, and I think Golovkin's handlers understand that Andre would be a loss. He would outbox. He would soundly outbox Golovkin. I think that the same would be true for Beterbiev. That Beterbiev would get outboxed. Now, maybe perhaps Beterbiev would catch up to Andre later on in the fight and stop him. That's a distinct possibility. But I think that if Andre could take away the right hand and fight a smart fight over the course of 12 rounds, who knows? Maybe he gets a decision. But those are the only two guys that I see beating Beterbiev at this point.
I think Bivol does it. Yeah, well, that's the only one I see beating him. Andrade looks really hella messy sometimes. Hella messy. With the pressure of Beterbiev, chasing him down for 12 rounds. You know, I just don't think Andrade.
I mean, let's not forget that Beterbiev is 38 years old, and you know, I just think that he would have problems trying to find Andre.
He'll be chasing him down. Andre's in the crouch stance, turning his back to him. He's just gonna walk up on him. He's gonna walk up on him with the overhand right, chopping down. That could be a bad night for Andrade. That overhand right, chopping down all night, chop. Nah, man, I don't know. That's a tough fight for Andrade.
Well, yeah, it's a tough fight, but I just think that Beterbiev has problems with that type of style. I mean, we've already seen what Beterbiev does with a very skilled southpaw in the Brown fight, and Brown at spots was making Beterbiev look very human and very beatable.
But Brown's style is nothing like Andrade's style. Nothing like it at all. Nothing like it whatsoever.
Well, I mean, he's a southpaw.
He's a southpaw.
Now, he's not the slickest of southpaws, I would agree.
It's totally different style, though. Andrade is bent over at the waist half the time.
Well, again, just in my observation, the Eastern European style, the kryptonite for the Eastern Europeans has always been the slick boxing types.
Yeah.
And I just think that stylistically, Bubu Andre presents problems for Beterbiev that he has problems that he, you know, at 38 years old, 39 by the time the fight would happen, maybe perhaps he just would not. He would run out of rounds.
I think Bubu would have his skates on. That's what I think, and it ain't gonna work. It ain't gonna work. Having your skates on ain't gonna work against Beterbiev. I don't see it. He's gonna have his skates on. I don't see a guy skating away, beating Beterbiev. No way do I see that. You might be right. I'd watch, but I just see Boo with his back to Beterbiev all night. Uncle Bunter Posh says, "Big up the RDC. Maybe Beterbiev could be the new mongoose." Beterbiev and be potent into his 40s. I don't know, man. I see aging already. He's one tough son of a gun, and he's worthy of the belt he holds. No, I ain't disputing that. No way. But I just think Yarde could have done so much better with the addition of the technique, which I mentioned earlier on, which is the clinch and grapple. I think he could have reduced Beterbiev's effectiveness by 25% doing that. And that would be 25% for him on the plus side. You know what I'm saying? Every percentage point counts. That's what I'm saying. You could not beat Canelo. He has no chance against Beterbiev. For real, for real. For real, for real. But hey, I think he has got better. I think he's better at 175. He's moved up. I think that's going to be better for him. No, man. I mean, the man's 6'2". No, man. So I think he may be more effective at this weight. But yes, I do feel that Beterbiev has the beating of Callum Smith handily. I'd happily watch that fight, though. But really, it's not the fight we want. The fight we want is Beterbiev versus Bivol. That's the fight we want. Andrade is mince. I don't know. You mean mince meat? You mean mince meat or mince pie? You have mince pies over in America? The fight doctor.
We have what? We have chicken pot pie.
No, do you have mince pies? Do you have mince pies?
I think that's with it's probably the same thing.
Okay.
Like chicken pot pie, you chop up the meat and you put it in the dough, and yeah. So maybe, yeah, I think so. Yes.
Okay. So we move on again. We keep on moving, and this is an interesting one. Let me stop the music.
Oscar, first off, man, just want to get an update with Terrance. We saw that photo. For those that missed, what was going on there with Terrance?
We, he wanted to come and say hi to two legends, me and Hopkins, and just showed him some love. Terrance Crawford, the best pound for pound fighter in the world, and we're looking forward to further our discussions with. We're looking forward to further the discussions. So maybe we can make a Rocha versus Crawford fight.
Okay, I don't know how the audio was, but that was the sound. That was the voice of Oscar de la Hoya. Mic placement is everything, folks. Mic placement is everything. So that was the voice of Oscar de la Hoya, who is in talks, who's had meetings with Terrance Bud Crawford. As a matter of fact, let's get that up there. Yeah, okay, you see that? All right.
So that's your goal, Oscar. You want to sign Crawford for you thinking how many fights?
I mean, look, we can deliver whatever fights he wants.
Yeah.
Okay, we can deliver whatever fight he wants. They're talking about Terrance Crawford. Terrance Crawford in talks with Golden Boy Promotions.
He's the best pound for pound fighter in the world now. So
he's the best pound for pound fighter in the world. What happened to Canelo? I thought that was Canelo. Oscar, come on. You're switching lanes.
He's the best pound for pound fighter on the planet. So it's a matter of just strategizing, sitting down with him again. I have a good feeling that he liked what he heard today with me and Hopkins.
I had a good feeling like what he heard in the meetings.
How likely then? How deal with Crawford to get him and Rocha and him and Virgil?
Yeah, we can get him and Rocha, him and Virgil. We can even get him and Errol Spence.
Wow. Golden Boy can get him and PBC's Errol Spence in the ring? Really?
So, this is the way we work with other promoters, and, we want to make things happen. We want to make 2023 the biggest year for boxing. So I'm going after everybody. I'm back, baby. I am back.
Back on the cocaine.
Crack is whack. Okay, so you heard it there from the mouth of the Oscar de la Hoya. What do you think? What do you think? Talk to me, the fight doctor. Talk to me.
So the fact that Bud Crawford even has to go and sit down and have a conversation with Golden Boy only proves that Uncle Al wants nothing to do with Terrance Crawford. Nothing. Okay? So the Spence is quite obviously in the PBC Witness Protection Program. And the plan is to keep Spence as far away from Bud Crawford as humanly possible. So, I mean,
who's doing that? Who's engineering that? If Bud's going to Golden Boy, then that's not Spence's fault, surely.
Well, so here's the problem, right? Now, look, you have a fighter in Bud Crawford who's on a 9-10 fight knockout streak.
Yeah.
PBC is the biggest promotional house in boxing, supposedly.
Mm-hmm.
And Terrance Crawford is the best fighter on the planet.
PBC is what?
PBC is the biggest promotional house on the planet, or at least in the United States.
What the hell do they promote?
Well,
who do they
they're
promote?
not a promoter, but they are.
Who the hell do they promote? Are they even promoters?
Well, they're not promoters, but they are. So just indulge me for a second. All right.
Okay.
So they're the biggest boxing management company on earth. Okay. And then in Terrance Crawford, you have the best fighter on the planet. So it seems that a marriage between the two would be natural, given that the PBC controls the welterweight division. So if you control the welterweight division, and Crawford is definitely a top 2 welterweight, if not the number 1 welterweight, an alliance between the two seems natural. But it appears, in my mind, that the PBC is risk averse, or is not warm to the idea of bringing Terrance Crawford within the PBC stable.
They're highly risk averse.
Yeah, they don't want anything to do with Bud Crawford. And the only reason I can think why the PBC would not want to bring Bud Crawford under the PBC umbrella is because they understand what happens next. Is that Bud Crawford upsets the apple cart and knocks out Errol Spence. So let's not forget that when Terrance Crawford was with Top Rank, and you would watch the PBC shows where they would feature Errol Spence or whatever other welterweight was fighting at the time under the PBC banner, and when they would have the graphic showing the current welterweight, the current top welterweights, Terrance Crawford was never included in that graphic, despite the fact that he held the WBO title. So that should tell you everything that you want to know.
Yeah, people, remember that? Remember when the PBC said they were no longer recognizing the WBO?
No, it wasn't that they were no longer recognizing the WBO. The PBC was not recognizing Terrance Crawford.
OMG.
That's what has been going on. That is what is currently going on right now. The PBC does not want to acknowledge Terrance Crawford's existence. People, let's
forget
call
about
it what it is.
Forget about that. We have to remind the people, those of the time when the PBC said they were no longer recognizing the WBO version of the 145, was it 145, 147?
147.
147 belt. PBC came out and said they are no longer recognizing the WBO 147 belt. They just said it. And then when the graphic came up on their fights, no WBO 147 belt existed.
So here's my question.
Because it was held by none other than Terrance Bud Crawford. Remember that, people. Remember that.
So here's my question, right? In what universe can you not acknowledge the existence of the pound for pound number 1 fighter in the world?
It's crazy, yo.
In which alternate reality are you living where that's possible, where that's acceptable?
It's crazy.
Because I can't understand how this is allowed to permit it to happen. This is clearly a duck on the side of the PBC. They're ducking Terrance Crawford. You just can't see it any other way. I mean,
even though it's Terrance Crawford going over to us to talk to Golden Boy. Well,
so you're talking. He's been talking to Uncle Al, and Uncle Al has been hanging up the phone.
Yeah.
So so Terrance Crawford is done doing business with Lonesome Bob. That's over. Mm. Uncle Al doesn't want to pick up the phone. So who is there left to talk to?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a simple process of elimination. No Bob, no Al. What's left?
What's left? We tried to talk to Al.
It's Golden Boy by default at this point.
We tried to talk to Al, and Al wasn't really coming up with nothing. Al said he was looking after his ill family member. When Terrance said, "Well, listen, let me fly out with my advisor. Let's meet up over the table, and let's thrash this thing out. Let's do this." And Al said, "Well, he's got an ill family member. He's got to be taken care of." So what the hell kind of businessman are you when you got an ill family member? You ain't got helpers. You ain't got a carer to take care of things at home, or your mom's home, or whoever's home it is, and you don't have a carer, so you can go and take care of business in a boardroom, a business deal. You can't do business deals. What kind of cockamamie operation are you running? You don't have a number two. You tell him what your position is. He goes and reiterates his position in the meeting. You don't have a number two. You don't have a carer. What kind of cockamamie business are you running over there? What kind of cockamamie business is that, Fight Doctor?
Well, so what we have to understand is that boxing is a business. It's prize fighting, okay? And unfortunately, and as much as I hate to admit this, but it's true, Terrance Crawford is not the biggest draw in boxing. He just isn't. Mm-hmm. And I think that the PBC is playing long ball. They're looking at what can happen down the line with Errol Spence's career. So they're going to feed him a bunch of soft touches and B-level fighters until the cash-out fight, which is, from what I can see, they're angling for Spence Alvarez. I think that's the end game here. Mm. And Bud Crawford upsets the apple cart. So that fight cannot be allowed to happen.
What kind of cockamamie business are you running when you can't? When a man's coming in from Utah, flying in with his advisor, but you're saying that you got a sick family member you're tending to. Are you a carer? You're not a carer. You have a carer for the family member, and you have a number two. So if you want to stay at home, fair enough. Well, you send your number two. Them guys are flying in from Utah. They want to sit around the table. They want to thrash it out. You're saying you're too busy at home? Don't you have a carer? Don't you have a number two? What kind of cockamamie business is that? Sounds cockamamie to me. That's for sure. Heyman's a money expert. Other people's money makes it disappear. He's a magician with money. He's running a business where the shares are valued at, dang, that's as cockamamie as it gets. You don't get much more cockamamie than that.
So let's look at the Tank Davis example, right?
Yeah, let's look at that.
So Tank Davis fights in what is arguably the deepest division in boxing.
Mm-hmm.
Who has he fought? Seriously, who has he fought? I'm asking this question as a Tank Davis fan. I don't want anyone to interpret this as me hating on Tank Davis because that's not what the situation is.
Santa Cruz.
He fought, Leo Santa Cruz is a featherweight who he fought at 130 pounds.
Dang.
Right? And look, and I've got nothing against that fight.
Right.
But I'm talking about the present. And then right now,
has Santa Cruz come back since then?
What?
Has Santa Cruz fought since then?
I don't think so. No.
I ain't seen him. Since then.
So.
It's been a while. Must have knocked something loose in Santa Cruz's head. Your mushroom jumped out your cup?
only the best, sir. Only the best. But look, the point that I'm trying to make is that, and this is nothing new in boxing. People have been protecting fighters for years. We saw it with Alvarez. We saw it with De La Hoya. Golovkin was definitely a protected fighter. So, I mean, other fighters have been protected. So this is not some new phenomenon in boxing. It's been going on. It's been going on forever. And but again, I'm just highlighting another example where you have a fighter who is talented, Tank Davis.
Yeah,
very talented. I think he has the tools to beat everyone in that lightweight division. But unfortunately, we'll never know because those matchups have not, and looks to me, will not happen.
Why?
Well, I can tell you why. Money. They're making good money having Tank Davis knock over these ringers.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, the guy is selling out. He's on pay-per-view. He's doing good business. So, I mean, there's an old saying, if it ain't broke,
don't fix it.
Right. So we're not going to see Tank Davis and Devin Haney. A fight that's well past due. But we're not going to see that fight because Devin Haney probably stops Tank Davis.
Tank Davis is too small for Devin.
Yeah, well, I mean, so if you make the weight, then I don't like using those excuses. If you make the weight, then you're the same size as the other guy, right? But that's
even if you're not, exactly. But I think that's a fight that the window has essentially closed because I think after Haney beats Lomachenko, he's going up to 140. Yeah.
So the window for that fight I think is closed, and it's a shame. It's unfortunate because that would have been a very good fight.
Yeah, for real.
Where you had the legitimate two best guys in the division.
Yeah. For real. Okay. So what's going on? We're moving on. We're moving swiftly. People. We don't tarry around here. What's going on? It's 29 minutes ago. Let's close the poll. Who wins? Callum Smith or Beterbiev? Who wins? Come on, we got time for one more person to vote. Come on, we got time. Bye. Come on in. And also, if you're enjoying the show, hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that share button. Okay. So the poll is now closed. Let's have a look. Let's see it there. Let's see the results. Where is it? There it is. Okay. Let's transfer that over now so I can show you the results. We can have it up in the chat for prosperity. Okay, so the question was who wins? Beterbiev. Beterbiev. 83% of voters said they thought Beterbiev wins, and 16% of respondents voted that they thought Callum Smith would win. So Callum Smith gets 16% and Beterbiev gets 83% of the votes. Okay, fair enough. The people have spoken. And then we move on. I was looking for something there and I can't see it. That was the last. Was that the last thing? Was that the last thing? That no, surely. Yeah, because we've just been talking about God. We've just been talking about that was the thing. What was that? No, there's something else, surely. There was one more thing. There's one more thing. What was it? Hold on, folks. Give me a second.
Undercard was horrible.
I don't even know about the undercard. I didn't watch none of that. I caught 2 fights, and that was just before. I caught 2 fights, and that was just before the main fight, the headline fight. I think that they might not even have been in order. They may have reshown the fight from earlier. I watched the heavyweight fight where the one guy knocked out the other guy in 1 round. And I watched some cat who had fought 100 times, only won 9 times, fight a cat who just fought 8 times. So that was yeah. So that's the only fights that I watched on the undercard. I had no intention. One fight lasted 4. Yeah, that's the fight I'm talking about, the heavyweight fights. That's the only 2 fights I watched other than the headline fight. But I think I closed a window. The topic that I had up for discussion, I think, but I can't remember what. Oh, yes, I do remember now. Okay, so let's close that. I don't even know if we got time, or we do. We do have enough time. We do have a few minutes to get this last one in. We do. So let me work a little bit of magic. Hold on a second. Gotta do something else. Gotta do that. Okay, that's good. And then I gotta do this. Another couple of buttons to get to where I want to get.
Say, Rafi.
Yo.
I gotta cut out. I love to hang around and chop it up with you with the for the next topic, but I gotta cut out.
That's no problem. That was the Fight Doctor, folks. Good to have you on, Fight Doctor. We'll catch you the next time.
Thank you for having me on, and shout out to my man Iron Kong.
Yeah. What's up, PhD? I was telling Rafi, I finally saw you in real life and up there debating the issues and Shaka and Dougal page. I look at my boy.
Whoa. Was he rocking the white beard?
Yeah. Issues, challenging people. All right, that's all right, my boy. All right.
Yeah, well, you gotta, talk about the issues that concern the people. So, you know what I'm saying? So sometimes that's what you gotta do.
Hopefully Saturday I want to get on. I don't want to talk about this xenophobia business. We want to talk about the people of, coming to Rafi them country and upset that there's too much different colors in this school. So, but Rafi, I don't know if Rafi gonna come out with me on Saturday morning. I'm gonna be on the other page.
I'll make some time. I'll
I'll try to join you.
I'll be on Saturday morning. I haven't been able to do it because my wife has been going through her illness.
Yeah.
And
what's the name of the channel? I keep on forgetting. What's the name of the channel?
SKNRBG. That's me.
SKNRBG.
RBG.
SKNRBG.
Yeah. So
SKNRBG. YouTube.
that's me. So I'm just saying, but that's what we're gonna be talking about Saturday. Hopefully, Fight Doctor is gonna be on with me, and hopefully, Rafi, you come on because it concerns your
Yeah, man. I'll come over there and give offer my 2 cents worth.
Yeah. What's up, Rafi? What you on today?
Yeah, well, man, we're just chopping up a load of things, a whole heap of things we just chopped up.
I came on too late.
No, not really, because you can still give your opinions as we close it, as we come into a close. But this one, something we haven't talked about. A lot of stuff we already talked about on the Saturday show.
Okay.
So I thought it's really primarily been a lot of that stuff. So there's 2 topics that you can touch on. The last one here we haven't touched on yet, but before that, you can if you want to share your views with us on the Errol Spence. I'll just close that window. Errol Spence in talks with Golden Boy. No, not Errol Spence. Sorry, Terrance Crawford.
I think it's great. There's 2 young men over there who want their shot. Hopefully, how they see it is that maybe Virgil Ortiz will fight Stanionis for, I guess, the mandatory shot, and Errol Spence doesn't seem likely to come back down to 147. So if Virgil ends up with a WBA belt, maybe they can get a unification happening over there. But the guy Rocha, who was over there, who just knocked out his opponent on the weekend, I think it was.
Yes.
He said plain out, he wants his shot. He's a high ranked WBO. Everybody else is ducking and hiding on the shrubbery, but not him. He wants his shot. Yeah. And I agree with that. The young people want their shot.
Yes, of course. So is Terrance Crawford talking to Golden Boy? There's narrative going out that that's a duck. Isn't that a duck? Is he running away from Spence by going to Golden Boy?
Well, is Spence running away from Crawford from going to 154 to fight a 147 pounder? I mean, is Spence ducking Crawford by his team offering this man no guarantee, no money, just sign this thing here and let me fight? And for Spence to say, but I wasn't getting no guarantee either. Are you stupid? What undisputed fight Which fight has Spence ever been in that he's gotten no guarantee? Mikey Garcia, Ugas, none of those fights he's ever fought for no guarantee. But suddenly, the biggest fight of his career, no guarantee. He don't see nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, any narrative that Crawford is ducking Spence, what Crawford is supposed to sit on his hands until what PBC decides to give him some fights? No. Crawford needs to move on his career and fight who wants to fight.
Yeah. I see certain channels saying that, look, Crawford ran away. But it's like you say. I mean, Crawford left Top Rank, talked to PBC. Al Heyman couldn't come up with nothing. He couldn't come up with no sensible offer. You know what I'm saying? He's saying, well, this fight, we can't give you a guarantee. Then Crawford talks to some other money men, and they say we can give you 20 million a piece. We can give you 20, and we can give Spence 20. Then Al Heyman apparently says to Crawford, well, why are you selling yourself cheap? So 20 million is selling yourself cheap, but he couldn't offer Crawford a guarantee.
Yeah. That's where we're at in boxing circles. But we've seen this before. We've seen these ridiculous, lame arguments before. With Anthony Joshua and these people, when they try to justify this foolishness. But that's what they have to do. They have to do these sort of stupid arguments. Terrance Crawford is here with the last belt for Errol Spence. And Errol Spence is over there. one guy on social media on Twitter said Terrance Crawford seemed to be more concerned about proving Errol Spence ain't his own boss than actually making the fight. I was like, nah, Errol Spence proved that himself.
Mm-hmm.
Errol Spence did that himself. Terrance Crawford didn't have nothing to do with that.
For real.
He proved he wasn't his own boss.
Same way Deontay Wilder proved it.
Proved he wasn't his own boss. All this talk about it, I'm my own promoter. I don't have no promoter. I'm a free agent. I can fight wherever I want. Doesn't appear so. Doesn't appear so.
Yeah.
I guarantee Errol Spence's next fight will not make him the kind of money. Whatever they said, they would not have made with Crawford. Crawford got $10 million from Black Friday. He got $10 million.
Yeah.
Errol Spence will not make $10 million fighting Keith Thurman next.
No.
He won't.
No.
And that's a problem because these PBC guys keep turning down money hand over fist to fight for less money, less accolades, less everything. And, I just think there's something off about this whole situation. That's just my opinion.
Well, they've been stringing it out. It's crazy, but we've seen this thing from PBC before. We've seen how it plays out. They contradict themselves. They make wild, ridiculous assertions. They say that we're our own boss, but clearly that's not the case. And then recently, I don't even want to get into this because I haven't really researched it properly. Recently, I hear Deontay Wilder come out saying that he wanted the fighters should get paid on the same day.
Well, Rocky, when I saw it, I was just like, man.
The same day,
Man wanting money, like when you done chop some grass in somebody's yard. Somebody come out and say, here's the $20. I ain't got it in 2 tens, but if you get it in a 10, a 5, and some singles.
Yeah. Small denominations.
Why he money, Rafi? Why he money?
The same day. You want it the same day. Probably wants it in cash too. Oh my gosh. I'm not even going to go into that one because that's going to be a comedy one. And I'm not going to go into the last story because it's a juicy one. I haven't made a video in probably like 2 weeks. So I'm going to save that one for a video. It's Bill Haney is the star of the video. Another star of the video is Fanon International. I ain't gonna go too much into that, but it's gonna be the next video. I'm gonna look to bang that out for tomorrow.
Fanon?
Yeah.
He's still around?
Yeah. He's left the PBC. Well, they kicked him out of the PBC. But his channel's still going very strong. He kept his subs. And Bill Haney, he was told. Fanon said something. Bill Haney has counteracted him in a blistering speech. I have that on video, and that we was going to talk about it here, but really and truly, I've fulfilled my quota. 1 hour and 30 minutes. Fulfill the quota. So I'm going to save that footage and make it into a video because I ain't done a video in probably 2 weeks. Make it into a video. People need some videos as well. And we will be back on Wednesday. So a couple of days' time, I think I'm going to have to talk about Deontay because he's come out with some crazy statements and I haven't addressed them yet. So he's definitely going to be one of the stars of the show, Deontay. We're going to have to dig up the body, bring him back to life, and set him in front of the court. But I think we fulfilled our duty over here at the RDCR. Yeah, I'll bang that out tomorrow. And thank you to the Fight Doctor, who was gracious enough to come on, and likewise, the Iron Kong, our man in the Caribbean. Iron Kong, your final words, please. Thank you very much for joining.
No real final words, man. Just want to wish everybody the best. Philip Kyle Roberts, Kyle L in the chat, and all these other people.
Yeah.
Philip Kyle Roberts, what's up? Simru, what's up? Wales, yeah. Rafi, as usual, my brother. I want to have a nice night. Take care of yourself, my brother, and I'll see you next time.
100%. That was the Iron Kong 26. Very gracious to join us over here at the RDC. Likewise, the Fight Doctor, and likewise everybody who's listening in the present and those who will be listening in the future. Okay. Not much else to say. I think we've covered a bunch of stuff, much of which I can't remember. What did we talk about? We talked about the Callum Smith fighting, being the Mando WBC Mando for Beterbiev. We talked about what I believe Anthony Yarde needs to adjust. He needs to get a grappling game. He needs to learn to clinch. And that will give him... That will nullify a man like Beterbiev, who likes to rip, let him just slip and rip. You know what I mean? What we talk about? We talked about Terrance Bud Crawford talking to Golden Boy. Is that a duck? Is he ducking by doing that? Obviously not. He left Top Rank, went over, talked to PBC. The PBC, what do they promote? Who are they promoting? What's going on with the PBC? Not a fat lot. They gave him the runaround, told him, yeah, we can set up a fight with you and Spence, but there won't be no guarantee for you. Bud Crawford went and talked to some private conglomerates. They said we can give you 20 mil. And we can give Spence 20 mil as well. Tell him to come talk to us. Goes over to Spence. Spence said, you don't know about that. Al Heyman said, why are you selling yourself short? Why are you selling yourself cheap? So on the one hand, he's saying we can't give you a guarantee because we don't know how much he's going to make. We ain't got a clue. And on the other hand, when the man gets up for 20 mil, he says, why are you selling yourself cheap? Giving him the financial run around, bun around, turn around, running around the gooseberry bush, trying to run around the gooseberry bush. But running around the gooseberry bush, you don't pay the bills. You don't give you investment money. You don't give you that generational wealth. So what are you going to do? Just listen to a next man's hot air? What are you going to go and do for self? You're going to go and do for self. You're going to go and cut deals. You're going to go and talk to people. You're going to find out what your market value is. Market value, now there's a term. There's a whole story about me and the next guy, an American cat, talking about market value. Shame I never clipped that. That was comedy gold. You know what I mean? But anyway, I think we did it. I enjoyed it. Hope you guys enjoyed it. So Raphael Dawkins, we're going to be back on Wednesday this week. Look out for the video tomorrow. From Bill Haney. But in the meantime, so Raphael Dawkins, it's the Combat Radio. It's the like, it's the subscribe, it's the comments, it's the shares, it's the hitting the bell icon in order to stay updated with news and notifications. Don't forget about the live show. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter. Link in the description box. Like, subscribe, comment, share, and we are out. Blessed.